Now we're going to move into our Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame induction ceremony. So I would ask you to remain seated, and we will now begin that part of the program. Jeff.
Dr. Jackson, members of the Institute Board of Trustees, members of the Alumni Board of Trustees, honorands, alumni, and friends, I'd like to welcome you this afternoon to the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame induction ceremony. My name is Jeff Shantz. I'm the Assistant Vice President for Alumni Relations and the Executive Director of the Rensselaer Alumni Association. In 1995, the RAA, with the full endorsement of the Institute Board of Trustees, created the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame to preserve and celebrate the exceptional heritage of alumni accomplishments throughout the years. The stories of these innovators, pioneers, and entrepreneurs provide a powerful source of inspiration for all who follow in their paths and who, like them, will continue to shape our world. 4 individuals have been selected this year for induction into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame, bringing the total membership to just 72. The 2013 class of inductees, a housing reform pioneer, the co-founder of the U.S. Navy Seabees, a power electronics innovator, and an esteemed dean of humanities and social sciences, carries on the tradition of Rensselaer's distinguished legacy. At this time, I would like to recognize the members of the selection committee and publicly thank them for their hard work. I am confident that when we introduce the newest Hall of Fame members, you will agree this committee was successful in selecting the best of the best. Would the members of the selection committee please stand and be recognized? Perhaps equally challenging are those who serve on our balloting committee. Would the members of the balloting committee please stand and be recognized? Thank you. And now it's my distinct pleasure to introduce the chairman of the Institute Board of Trustees and member of the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame Selection Committee, the Honorable Judge Arthur J. Gallarza, member of the class of 1962.
Good afternoon. You heard a fantastic presentation by the president of this university. And I'm very pleased to join everyone here to induct the newest members of the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame, whose inspiring examples remind us how fortunate we are to have a Rensselaer education. I'm a proud member of the class of 1962, a few years ago. I enrolled in the 50-year club last year. And as Jeff mentioned, I've been a member of the Board of Trustees since 1994 and chairman of the board for the past 3 years. It's been my privilege and honor to do so. A good part of that association with Rensselaer over the past 14 years has been to watch it develop into one of the finest institutions in this country. The president of Rensselaer had a vision when we first elected her as a president in 1999. She established the Rensselaer Plan. And now that plan has evolved in the Rensselaer Plan of 2024. And we will reach new heights of excellence. She has challenged the entire community to have an impact globally. I expect her to challenge us further by asking all of us to have an impact on the universe. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct pleasure and honor to present to you the President of Rensselaer, Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson.
Thank you, Chairman Gallarza. Here I am again. The Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame is a relatively recent innovation at Rensselaer, as you've heard. However, it is a very important development. As we approach the 200th anniversary of our founding, we want to ensure that our history resides not merely in the books and in library archives, but also in the consciousness and aspirations of the entire Rensselaer family. Rensselaer alumni and alumnae have reshaped our world, adding to its beauty and wonder with the Ferris wheel, an example of which we have brought to campus this weekend, with the Brooklyn Bridge, which remains suspended between Brooklyn and Manhattan, with Boston's Fenway Park and other storied baseball stadiums, and with Prospect Park right here in Troy, with the digital camera, the sequencing of the first complete genomes, and the design of many elegant aircraft. We intend to prepare the next generation of discoverers, innovators, business leaders, entrepreneurs in all technological and scientific and related fields, ranging from computer science to biomedical engineering, to advanced materials, data analytics, to digital arts, new ways of doing business and designing our built environment. However, that requires inspiration as well as education. The members of our Alumni Hall of Fame prove that motto. And our motto, "Why not change the world?" is not merely rhetorical. A Rensselaer education does make it possible to change the world. The stories of our remarkable alumni and alumnae give our students motivation to reach toward ever greater heights themselves. And we are very pleased to have several current members of our Alumni Hall of Fame with us today, as well as family members representing others. And so I would like to ask that as I introduce you, if you are in the audience, to please stand and be recognized. I would like to begin with Trustee Emeritus and Alumni Hall of Fame, Howard P. Iserman of the Rensselaer class of 1942. I'm not done yet, Howard. Howard embodies the absolute best of Rensselaer. A chemical engineer, he developed the ultraviolet absorber that became the most effective sunscreen in the world, saving countless lives in the process. Howard is an entrepreneur who has used his success to allow many young people to receive the Rensselaer education that benefited him. He has supported both professorships and fellowships that have assisted hundreds of chemical engineering students in their first year of graduate school. His generosity has helped to propel Rensselaer's chemical and biological engineering department into the world's top ranks. Thank you, Howard. I also want to recognize Dr. Nancy Deloy Fitzroy, Nancy, of the Rensselaer class of 1949. Dr. Fitzroy is an internationally recognized and honored expert in the field of heat transfer and fluid flow, and is the first woman to have led the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. And she and her husband have always been great supporters of the Institute. Thank you, Nancy. Dr. Ivar Gaver of the Rensselaer class of 1964. One of 3 scientists awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1973, Dr. Guyver conducted investigations that led to an understanding of electronic tunneling, a foundation for the study of superconductivity. Thank you for joining us. And I believe and hope we have with us Ms. Margaret Mason Bruce, who is the great-great-granddaughter of William Pitt Mason of the class of 1874. A pioneer in sanitation chemistry, Mr. Mason was a major contributor to the world's understanding of the need for pure municipal water supplies. Thank you for joining us today. Ms. Janie Gibson Daggs is the first cousin, thrice removed, of Garnett Douglas Baltimore of the Rensselaer class of 1881. He was a distinguished civil engineer and landscape designer, and he designed Prospect Park, one of the greatest assets of the city of Troy. Mr. Baltimore was the first African American to earn a bachelor's degree from Rensselaer. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, we thank all of you for providing the best possible argument for Rensselaer education. And before we induct our 4 newest members, we have a video for you to see about the Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to continue the afternoon with the induction ceremony. Today, we celebrate the achievements of all inductees into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame, some of the brightest minds who have ever attended Rensselaer. Their achievements in science, education, architecture, engineering, and technology have truly changed the world. Dr. Jackson, Judge Gallarza, the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame Selection Committee is pleased to present to you the 2013 inductees into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame. Each inductee will receive a glass replica of the windows that line Thompson Hall in the David M. Darren Communications Center. Dr. Jackson, Chairman Gallarza. We are pleased to begin the induction ceremony with Alfred Treadway White, class of 1865. I would ask Miss Sylvia Van Sinderen, great-granddaughter of Alfred Treadway White, to join Dr. Jackson and Judge Gallarza at center stage. Alfred Treadway White was leading American housing reformer and philanthropist in the 19th century. An engineer by training and a businessman by practice, he became deeply concerned with the living conditions of the working poor through his work with Brooklyn's First Unitarian Church. In 1877, he constructed the first model tenements in America, which set new standards for tenement housing in their attention to architectural beauty, open space, sunlight, ventilation, and fire safety. He advocated for a, quote, philanthropy plus 5%, end quote, business model, which turned a modest profit, and persuaded other landlords to enter the market for low-income housing. His financial success and public advocacy of his cause influenced passage of the New York tenement reform legislation. White founded charities dedicated to children's aid and medical care, greatly reducing infant mortality, and created the Brooklyn Botanic Garden, which provided green space for the neighborhood's poor. At his death, White was eulogized as, quote, the great heart and mastermind of Brooklyn's better self, end quote. We are pleased to induct Alfred Treadway White into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame.
Thank you, and good afternoon. It is not possible to describe how much it means to have RPI honor my great-grandfather's contributions to the world. I am privileged and humbled to represent him and our family today. I'd like to take a moment to introduce two other family members who are here. My son, Adam Abate, and my cousin's son, Alexander Henry. Like many of their cousins, Adam and Alexander carry on their great-great-grandfather's tradition of climbing the high peaks of the Adirondack Mountains. Alfred Treadway White has been a constant presence in my life. Our paths missed crossing by 30 years, but I feel that I knew this strong yet gentle man through his poetry and letters, through treasured family pictures and stories, and through shared dreams of a better world. I also spent some years in Troy at Emma Willard School, where I would sometimes imagine my great-grandfather studying nearby. Alfred attended RPI during the Civil War to study civil engineering. His alma mater gave him essential tools to help improve the quality of life for many. He never sought recognition. He found his reward through the effort and the results. He would be the first to appreciate and applaud the contributions of the distinguished alumni who were members of the Hall of Fame. He would not expect to be joining them. But if Alfred knew that he was being remembered by RPI, and if he felt that accepting this honor was helping, in whatever small way, to reinforce the foundations of this exceptional institution, then I know he would be pleased. Thank you.
Our next inductee is Louis Coombs, class of 1916. I would ask Mr. Randall Dillman, grandnephew of Rear Admiral Coombs, to join Dr. Jackson and Judge Gayarsa on the stage. Louis B. Coombs was co-creator and director of World War II's legendary Fighting Seabees, who rapidly built docks, landing strips, and other critical facilities in every theater of operation during the war. A distinguished naval officer for 31 years as a leader in the Navy's Civil Engineer Corps, Rear Admiral Coombs oversaw an unprecedented construction program to provide the public works and utilities for Navy operations in the United States and for a far-flung network of bases overseas. In 1942, this work included organization of the Naval Construction Battalions, the CBs, an entirely new branch of the naval service that expanded to 250,000 by war's end. He played a major role in the development of floating dry docks, which enabled the quick return to battle of impaired ships and saved many American lives. Upon his retirement from active duty in 1947, Coombs joined the faculty at Rensselaer, where he served as head of Civil Engineering Department for 15 years. We are pleased to induct Louis B. Coombs into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame.
I suffer from something called glossophobia. I don't know whether you all know what that is, but I'll try to get through this without stammering too much. I would like to thank Gene Jenkins for nominating Rear Admiral Louis Barton Coombs into the RPI Hall of Fame. I'm sorry, I'm a little emotional. I'm sure my great uncle would be honored by being considered for this prestigious award for serving his country and then returning to his alma mater to head the Civil Engineering Department for 15 years, from 1947 to 1962. He was most proud of being an integral part, along with Rear Admiral Ben Morrell, of founding the Naval Construction Battalion, better known as the Seabees, in January of 1942. The Seabees' motto, which I'm not sure how it exactly came about, was called "We build and we fight." Unofficially, its term was also "can do," but there also was a Latin interpretation of that, "construimus batuimus," which meant construct and build. He served 31 years in the Navy after after returned to RPI, after he graduated from RPI in 1916. He was born in Manchester, Vermont in 1985, and at the age of 10, having had an interest in golf, he caddied for a name you might recall, Robert Todd Lincoln, who was the son of Abraham Lincoln. His family relocated recently after that to Rensselaer. He and his wife, Laura B. Warden, shared 70-plus years together. Outside of his academic duties, that he enjoyed watching and most of all playing golf, tending to his garden, and vigorously and outlandishly at times, supporting the RPI hockey team. He loved to yell at the refs, because I used to come up for the tournaments that they had in the 50s when Ned Harkness was here as the RPI coach. He also enjoyed fly fishing, which he used to take me out once in a while and try and teach me how to fly fish, which is not the easiest thing in the world to do if you've ever attempted it. He passed away in Red Oak, New York in May of 1996 at the age of 101. Once again, I would like to thank Gene Jenkins for initiating and supporting the inclusion of my great-uncle into the Rear Admiral Lewis, middle name Barton, I don't know where that came from, Barton Combs, into the RPI Hall of Fame. Happy that my uncle's great contributions to his country as well as his alma mater were recognized. One of his favorite sayings, and had it embroidered up on the wall in his office, was, "Count your age by friends, count your life by smiles, not tears." And little did he know, probably at the time, that this was originated by John Lennon.
Our next inductee is Thomas W. Phelan, Jr. I would like to ask his goddaughter and niece, Miss Eileen Howe Bird, Rensselaer class of 2000, to join Dr. Jackson and Judge Gallarza on the stage. The Reverend Thomas Phelan devoted more than 4 decades of his life to Rensselaer as chaplain, professor, dean, and historian. As dean of the School of Humanities and Social Sciences from 1972 to 1994, he transformed a traditional liberal arts curriculum into a cross-disciplinary program focused on bridging the humanities and social sciences with science and technology. He created the Department of Arts, a forerunner in electronic arts education, and the Department of Science and Technology Studies, one of the first in the country. Phelan's legacy to Rensselaer includes building the award-winning Chapel and Cultural Center. He was a historian and scholar who wrote and taught American material culture as it reflected in the nation's industrial age, and was a champion of preservation efforts. An advocate for the arts, he served as president of the Catholic Art Association and was named a Fellow of the Society for Arts, Religion, and Contemporary Culture in 1972. To generations of students and colleagues, he left an indelible legacy as counselor, teacher, advocate, and visionary. We are pleased to induct Thomas Phelan into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame.
Hi, everyone. It's with great pleasure that I join you here today in celebration of Tom Phelan's induction into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame. Well, you've heard some wonderful things about Tom. On a professional basis, there is probably more to be written. But I'm here to tell you today that, to me, he was Uncle Tom. And I guess I'm a little emotional myself. As a child, and I knew him through a great deal of my life, I felt him as a presence, and he was a very big part of our family and a big part of my life. As I grew into adulthood, I was delighted to find that at times that I needed counseling, and I'll tell you there were more than a few, that he was there for me. And it was a great privilege to call him my uncle and a family member. A few things about Tom. Tom was a man who made every day of his life count. He had such a yearning and calling to connect with people. It really is one of the hallmarks of his everyday existence. He had many personal friends, and people who relied on him not just as a counselor and advisor, but as just a confidant, if nothing else. He spent a considerable amount of energy bridging connections and bringing people together. It really was a hallmark of his and his ability to connect individuals and groups and really bring out the very best in all of those interactions. He was very well known for hosting Sunday dinner, which he did every single Sunday. In addition to getting a spectacular meal, and I can say that firsthand, he brought conversation together and he brought people together at those meals, and they were very special. Additionally, he also held New Year's Eve parties for quite a number of years, and those were quite well known in the Troy parts. Just a rumor. He had a capacity to love and to appreciate people. He had a presence that's larger than life, and perhaps you can tell that even after we've lost him for a number of years, I still miss him, and I feel his presence, and his presence is with us today. He left an indelible impression on the Rensselaer campus. He was just a big presence here, and his spirit, I think, continues to live on. And one thing, as I was sitting here today, I would just generally comment was that he would love this building. He would just revel at an opportunity to attend a concert here or to be here for any particular event, and there's been a number of them in the years since the building's been opened. He is most deserving to be counted among the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame, and on behalf of his family, and many members of his family are with me here today. We're very grateful to celebrate his induction into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame. Thank you very much.
Please welcome Dr. B. Janet Balaga, Rensselaer class of 1974. Dr. Balaga, would you please join Dr. Jackson and Judge Gaiarsa on stage? B. Janet Balaga is an internationally recognized expert on power semiconductor devices, best known for his innovation of the insulated gate bipolar transistor, or IGBT, a power-saving switch device that has revolutionized the field of power electronics. With high efficiency and fast switching, the energy-saving device controls the flow of power from an electrical energy source to any application that needs energy and is widely used in transportation, lighting, medicine, defense, and renewable energy generation systems. The IGBT, which Balaga developed while working at General Electric in the 1970s, is used in an array of products from cars and refrigerators to light bulbs and its critical component, enabling compact cardiac defibrillators. The device has saved consumers trillions of dollars, reduced environmental pollution, and helps form the basis for the smart grid. Among his many honors, Balaga was named one of 8 heroes of the semiconductor revolution by Scientific American magazine in 1997. He received the National Medal of Technology and Innovation from President Obama in 2010. We are pleased to induct B. Janet Balaga into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame.
I'm delighted to be inducted today into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame. I couldn't help noticing that I'm the only inductee not being honored posthumously. So I want to give a special thanks to the committee for giving me the pleasure of receiving this honor in person. So I'm also grateful to my wife, Pratima, who has supported me throughout my career, and I'm very grateful that she's here to enjoy the honor with me. So let me begin Let me begin by stating that I owe a big debt of gratitude to Professor Sohrab Gandhi, who sponsored me as a graduate student and guided me through my master's and PhD degrees at RPI. In my graduate school application form, I wrote that I wanted to come to RPI because my goal in life was to create a technology that would be beneficial to mankind. Now, this could have been considered the foolish ambition of a naive young man of 21. The fact that this dream has actually come true is in no small measure due to the education and inspiration that I received here at RPI. Now, I did not realize until my arrival in Troy that I was one of the first students from India who was admitted into the electrophysics department. In fact, I barely got in because the first choice of Professor Gandhi's was a student from China who couldn't make it for some reason. Moreover, many faculty had reservations about my admission because they felt that a student from an Indian university may not be able to survive our rigorous curriculum. However, I dispelled their concerns by maintaining a perfect 4.0 grade point average, and I graduated from RPI with my PhD in 1974 with the Alan B. Dumont Prize. Alan B. Dumont, of course, being a previous inductee. So many years after leaving RPI, one of the professors mentioned to me that I was referred by the faculty at RPI as the golden boy from India. Now, had I known this while I was at RPI, I would have negotiated a bigger stipend for my research appointment. Now, after leaving RPI, I joined GE, Corporate Research and Development, in neighboring Schenectady, which allowed me to maintain my ties with RPI as an adjunct professor. GE CRD was led at that time by Roland Schmidt, who went on to become president of RPI and an inductee also into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame in 1999. Furthermore, one of my colleagues at GE, with whom I shared the distinction of being named a Coolidge Fellow, was Ivor Gaver, an inductee into the Hall of Fame in 1998. Now, it was at GE that I invented, developed, and commercialized the IGBT, which is now used by all of you in your everyday lives. It is an embedded technology that is hidden from the eyes of society, so many people don't even recognize its existence. But it powers the ignition system of your cars, runs the motors in your air conditioners, washing machines, and refrigerators. It operates all the robots in factories, drives the motors in electric cars and high-speed locomotives, and enables compact fluorescent lamps. And of course, the defibrillator that was mentioned a few minutes ago. So during the last 20 years, the improved efficiency with using the IGBT has saved consumers 50,000 terawatt hours of electricity. That's as much electricity as produced by 600 coal-fired plants. And it has reduced gasoline consumption by 1 trillion gallons. And this has translated to a cost savings of over $15 trillion and a reduction of carbon dioxide emissions of 78 trillion pounds. Not bad a contribution for a student who almost didn't get into RPI, eh? So I want to conclude my remarks by expressing my gratitude to RPI for providing the educational foundation that made my career possible, and I deeply cherish this recognition today by my alma mater. Thank you.
Let me congratulate again our distinguished inductees and their families. Please join me.